Hi, my name is Axel Brown and I'm a Bobsleigh pilot for Great Britain, and I'm coming to you with another Q&A on behalf of All Sport Insurance. We've got our four-man bobsleigh debut coming up. We've been doing two-man up until this point, so we've got a couple of more specific questions for you, to answer for you. You've come up with them. So how does four-man bobsleigh vary to two-man, and what's the main difference as a driver? Well, the main difference overall is obviously that there's two extra people in it, so it's a little bit longer, but not as much longer as you'd think. And you've got two extra people, which in our case is another 200 kilos worth of body in there. So as you'd expect as a driver, that means that basically as you're going down, you've got more weight, you've got more speed, and it's just a lot bigger. In fact, it's kind of like the difference between driving this and driving, a sports car or something. It's just bigger, heavier, takes longer to react, and you just have to kind of work it a bit more. Who will be joining yourself and Adam in the sled? So Adam was my brakeman for the last competition which we had, which was two-man, and he'll probably be the brakeman for this race in the two-man coming up this weekend. But in the four-man, we'll have Marcus, he's on the camera. And then somebody else. So this is the tricky thing with four-man, is that there's a weight limit to the maximum, which people that have watched Cool Runnings will know that there's a weight limit. And the sled that we've got is really, really heavy. It's 40 kilos heavier than the minimum weight, which means that we're struggling to stay under the maximum. So we're kind of recruiting essentially to try and find someone that can fit for the weight. But also Ricky has injured himself last week in training, so he's kind of out. So we're trying to basically piece together a crew at the moment, which is not ideal, but it's where we find ourselves.
Have a look at some of the All Sports Insurance employees, see if there's anybody who wants
I mean, if you know anyone that wants to fly out for a four-man race in 6 days, let us know. Do you and the team already own a four-man sled as well as a two-man? No, we don't. So I own my own two-man sled because it's what I've been doing the last 2 years, but because we've only just graduated up to doing four-man, say graduated like it's a better thing, I prefer the two-man anyway. No, so I don't own the sled. We're just renting it while I learn. Might look to buy one this off-season, maybe after the Olympics, something like that. But for now, we're just renting, which is why the weight's higher, because it's not ours, so we haven't, kind of tailored it to our own weight and team. Is getting in the sled at the start much more challenging with four people? Yes, 100%. In a two-man, you just kind of get in, you find your seat, and it's easy. In a four-man, it's called kind of like choreography on ice, because you've got four people, all of which on this team are over 6 foot, around about 100 kilos, and we're all trying to load into a little bathtub. And so you've got one man's legs are looped round another, and you all have to kind of sit down at the same time and all of that. So we have to do practice for that in the garage, just on dry land, kind of stuttering our steps and then jumping in to make sure that we've kind of got that all timed up.
It's unfortunately how Ricky bit the dust.
Yeah, exactly. So Ricky, the guy who's injured, he unfortunately injured himself on the loading in part. He messed up putting his feet on the bail, which is the side bit, and ended up spraining his ankle doing that. So it's an important part of it, because if you're on the side of a bobsleigh, you've got to find your way in, and unfortunately he didn't. So we went down the whole track with only 3 people in. Luckily I didn't really notice as a driver, because it's still only 20% of the total weight. And when we got to the bottom, the guy who was in behind me was like, "Yeah, we're missing somebody." I'm like, "Oh yeah, we are." Does the four-man sled reach higher speeds than the two-man? And what's the highest speed we'll be traveling? It does generally. Again, you've got another 200, 300 kilos. However, we probably won't be, because we're challenging to try and be world class in the two-man. We're just learning four-man, so in actual fact our two-man will probably go faster. And as for speed, so in the two-man we're hoping to hit around 122 kilometers an hour on this track. It's not a particularly fast track. It's quite short, but it is very technical, and hard to find speed at the bottom. So about 122 kilometers an hour in the two-man, and probably around about that in the four-man as well. What will your 2-week practice period look like in Germany? Do you get to practice on the track? Yes, we do. So we've been here a week already, and then we've got 1 more week until the race. So we get 2 or 3 runs a day, which doesn't sound like much, but trust me, those 2 or 3 runs will take it out of you, especially in the four-man. So we have 5 more days of practice, Monday through Friday, and then the races are going to be Saturday, Sunday. So this is our final race of the season. So the question is, do you have an off-season training program, and when does the season start again? We have a general idea of where we want to be. As athletes, we all live in separate places. You know, the national team, by its very nature, it's people from all over the country. So we have a general plan, though we don't necessarily always train together. So essentially, we have somewhere we want to be, and for the first several months of the off season, it's kind of the athlete's responsibility to be where we need everyone to be. And then as we get closer to the start of the season, we start coming together and doing more push training and more kind of team training, so that then when we get onto the ice, which is in November, generally the start of the season, kind of end of October into November, we're all ready to go and we kind of know where we are, where everybody is athletically, and we're working well as a team. Do you already have targets for next season that you'll be looking ahead to? Well, the main one is that next season is Olympic year. So of course we're looking to qualify for the Olympics. If that doesn't come to fruition, we'll be hoping to compete on the World Cup and progress to the higher levels of world bobsleigh and kind of be considered as one of the top teams, certainly in the country, but hopefully in the world. And again, failing that, we would be looking to medal on the kind of level below, which is the Europa Cup and the North America's Cup. We'd be looking certainly to be in the top 3 of that. So those are our goals. Thank you so much for watching, guys. See you next time. Bye.